sports.
All right, it is Nicole Shearin from 10 TV in Columbus, Ohio. She left us in July, just in time for football season, to get to Columbus and to tear it up. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about the Buckeyes in this college football championship.
What is up, Pete? Thank you for having me. I miss you guys.
Oh, we miss you too. I was texting with Allie last night. I said, I got to get in touch with Nicole. I said, and I didn't want to I guess blindside you. So I was like, is she in Atlanta now or whatever? Of course, Allie didn't know. Allie was like, you mean the Natty?
Allie's my girl, but she didn't know.
No, Nicole, she goes, do you mean the Natty? I was like, oh boy.
God.
So, but I've been obviously watching all your stuff this year. You've been doing a phenomenal job, and it really is cool to feel like I'm dialed in to a school like Ohio State, especially when they go on a run like this. But last night, you really took us behind the curtain. You touched on, I think, a nerve, or you hit a nerve with me at least. Ryan Day, I thought, after the Michigan loss, I personally, and I went, as public as I can go and said I thought it was BS that people were actually saying he was coaching for his job. And, while we have all this stuff that we see playing out on the surface and all the rumors and, boosters and whoever gets in the mix now, it gets pretty loud and weighs in with their opinion. There are people that are actually dealing with these situations. And Nina Day is one of those people, and that's Ryan Day's wife. You did a story last night on her on Channel 10 in Columbus that anybody can see on Nicole Shearin TV. It's online now. Of course, you can go on the station's website. But what was it like for you to sit down with her and kind of get a pulse for how she was feeling during all that and how she's feeling now?
Yeah, so thankfully, I've been able to build a really great relationship with Nina Day over the season. I did an interview with her right before the season. And then, I was just kind of thinking, it'd be really powerful to talk with her about the whole year and what it's been like. Because what a lot of people don't realize is, what happens on a football field, it's taken home. It's taken behind those doors. It affects their children. It affects, being a coach's wife is incredibly difficult. And Nina was telling me how, of course, Ryan tries to keep the emotions of football separate, but it goes behind closed doors. It trickles into dinner time, at the table with the kids. The emotions go far beyond that. And I'll be honest, Pete, I wasn't sure at first how open she was going to be in terms of, how much she was willing to talk about what this family has been through this season. And I really didn't even have to really pry into it that much. I just kind of asked her, you've been through the ups and downs of this year. What has that kind of been like? And how have you leaned on each other during that time? And she just, kind of just opened up to me and said how, what I really loved that she said, Pete, was that she told me that her kids saw her dad fail. And that was traumatic. Like they had to sit, they all sat down and they had a discussion about what was going on and what it could mean for the family. But the way that she looked at it is that her kids were able to see how their dad handles that kind of adversity. And it's a life lesson. It's a life lesson on how you deal with outside noise, how you deal with chaos and people coming for your job and people saying things about you and all these things. Like their family was fully affected by that. And like you said, it honestly, it's insane to me. It really is crazy what can happen over a game of football sometimes. But it was very eye-opening to hear her just kind of outlook on everything, because the way she approaches it all is honestly, it's remarkable with like how she kind of looked at it as a life lesson and what it taught her kids on how to handle those sort of things in life.
How about when she said he woke up in the morning after that Michigan loss and said, I've got no choice but to fight my way out of this. And it's when you think about that bunker mentality, that's something that only a coach of that magnitude and a person, right, of that, that's why he is as successful as he is, because he can dig down and find that gear in that moment of darkness. And she's right there with him. These two have known each other since they were 6 years old.
Yep.
What a love story, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I That's what I love about them to begin with. I did a story on them before the season of how they met in T-ball, and now they grew up together, and here they are. You know, he's the head coach of one of the biggest programs in the country. Their love story is incredible. But you're right. Because I asked her, I said, was there a shift? Did you feel a shift with Ryan? Because from football fans and reporters, we saw a shift with this team ever since that game. And I asked her, and that's exactly what you just said is what she said, is that there was a look in his eye, and he said, my only option is to fight my way out of this. And that shows so much about not only him as a coach, but the family. The fact that he's not going to, you know, fall over and roll over and kind of, you know, be upset and self-pity or whatever it is. He said, no, this is my only option. We have to fight through this, and we're going to make it to the end. And she told me, she said, that's the kind of person he is. You prove all the doubters wrong.
Yeah, no, they have. And I want to ask you, you mentioned, I got to drill down on that, the shift that you noticed. What did you notice that changed after that game against Michigan, where it had to feel like rock bottom inside that program, but there was still a little bit of light right at the end of the tunnel? You probably figured you were still going to go to the college football playoff, but what was the shift that you noticed?
I felt, honestly, Pete, and I've said this, and people can call me crazy saying this, but I think that loss to Michigan was maybe the best thing that ever happened to this team. Because in the craziest way, I saw a shift within the culture, within the drive, like the drive to want to achieve that ultimate goal. Because they came in with 3 goals. One was to beat the team up north, one was to win a Big Ten title, and the last was to win a national championship. 2 of those goals were no longer after they lost that game. And I think everybody realized, especially the guys who came back for one more year, like a Jack Sawyer, like a JT Tuimoloau, like those kind of guys, realized we only have 1 goal left, and it's the biggest one of all of them. So we need to kick it into gear, get over this, and use it as fuel to get to Atlanta. And you saw that with all the players, and you saw it with Ryan Day, like the way that he would speak to us in media availabilities throughout the week. I mean, he is so locked in. I don't even know how to explain to you the way he's focused, and like the ultimate prize is right in front of him. And all the media people talk about it. We've never seen him so locked in before games before. Like ever since that loss, the whole culture shifted. I mean, and I'm sure you've seen videos that they've put out after playoff games where he's in the locker room and he's yelling, "It's our family against their family." And he's like fired up. Like that is the kind of stuff that we don't normally see. But seeing those videos, I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like this team is different right now. They have their eyes on a prize and they're going to go get it.
You have had a front row seat to what was an amazing full circle moment. You know, Jack Sawyer rips the flag out of the Michigan Wolverine player's hand at midfield. And, you know, Ryan Day says our players just weren't going to let that happen. And then Jack Sawyer rips the ball away from a Longhorn and races the length of the field to drive the nail in the coffin. What is the difference in emotion from that Michigan moment to that moment against Texas?
I mean, Pete, I like get chills thinking about that moment against Texas because I was thankfully on the field for that. And wow. First of all, it's just iconic that, of course, Quinn Ewers and Jack were roommates when they were in Columbus. So that just adds to the whole story. But what really, the emotion that I think everyone felt in that moment is that Jack Sawyer almost had that moment against Michigan. It didn't it didn't work out the way they wanted to, but everybody thought, oh my gosh, that was the moment. We're going to win this game. Didn't end up that way. The fact that it was Jack Sawyer that had the sack, scoop, and score, just really, it's a defining moment for this program. And that play is going to go down in history because Jack Sawyer is the kind of player who will go down in history for this program. I mean, Ryan said it on the sideline. He jumped on him, hugged him, and he said, that is how these games are how legends are made. And you just became a legend, like in that play right there. Like that's just, I mean, he's a Pickerington guy. He's from Central Ohio. He's Ryan Day's first commit. Like he was Ryan Day as the first year that he was a head coach. That was Jack Sawyer's coach. He came back for one more year because he said he'd commit to Ryan Day 1,000 times if he could. And I don't know if you saw it, Pete, but Jack Sawyer actually wrote this whole player.
I saw the headline. I didn't read it. Yeah. It was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah. Like, it just kind of shows how much this team means to him. And the fact that it was Jack Sawyer, just it's the full circle moment. It's the bow on top of everything. It's emotional. It's just like you just feel all the buildup of that moment. Like he has been doing and working and doing all these things for that moment.
What's the headline? It's like one more game than forever or something like that.
Yeah, one more than forever. Yeah,
awesome.
Exactly.
So let's look at that one more. Around this team, as you've seen them get ready to take on Notre Dame next Monday, what have you felt? Give us a vibe check around this team as they ramp up for that ultimate opportunity.
Well, there's 3 words they keep saying all week. Job's not finished. That's what they keep saying. Job's not finished. They said, if we don't win this game, we haven't done anything. Like, we haven't done anything. This is the ultimate win that they have to get under their belt to feel like they accomplished something this season. And I saw a lot from that Texas game. I saw a lot of fight. We've seen it all postseason. The Buckeyes' red zone defense is honestly incredible. I mean, if you really watch what they did in those final minutes of play to hold Texas from scoring is remarkable when you go back and look at it. The thing with Notre Dame that's going to be the key is containing Riley Leonard. Like, he's got legs. He's going to use them. If they can hold him from running the ball, I think they're going to be just fine. I mean, Notre Dame showed spark against Penn State. They've showed spark all season. But there is just a different kind of fight and mentality with this Buckeye team that they're almost like untouchable. And there was a point with Texas where you felt for kind of the first time in postseason, whoa, wait a second, this game's close. Like, we got to kick it into gear.
Yeah.
But they proved themselves that they never panic. They never doubt themselves. You never are worried that they're going to lose the game because of, I think, the mindset that these guys have from the very beginning, that they're not accomplishing anything unless they win this game on Monday night. And yeah, I mean, Notre Dame Ohio State's got the top scoring defense. Notre Dame's got the second. So it's going to be a battle out there. But I think and I've also loved the way Chip Kelly has called games recently. Will said it the other day. He said Chip's in his bag. And I think that's a big part of it is the creativity that we're seeing with the offense and how they're kind of clicking on all cylinders. I think it's going to be a low scoring game on Monday night, but I think with the way this Ohio State team has been playing and the fight that they've shown when it gets close against the Texas, and they've got, their 4th and 10 in the red zone and they hold them. Like, I'm not concerned about this team getting it done. I just think that it's going to be an emotional game because for all these guys who came back, it's their last time playing, whether they want it to be or not. Like in the Scarlet and Gray, it's their last time. And there was a clip from Emeka Egbuka, and he said, before the Texas game, he said, he goes, January 20th, that's going to be my last time playing in this uniform, not today. And it's like that is the culture of this whole team. Like, I don't think there's anybody who wants this more than this program. Like, yes, every team wants to win the national title, but this team wants it more than I think you've ever seen before.
How about Nicole Shearin? I mean, here you are, this USC alum. You get big time work in the Big 12, and now here you are climbing the mountain in Columbus, headed to Atlanta for the national championship. And I've watched your development. You've made such a smooth transition to the biggest of stages. How has it been for you? Because when you're working in Central Texas or in a Big 12 market, it's big, but it's not the Big 10. And I probably shouldn't say that because I'm a kind of a Big 12 guy here. I work for them, but I do want to say there's something special, obviously, about Big 10 football. What's that adjustment been like for you?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, I came here, and we talked about it, Pete. I came here wanting, I loved my time in Central Texas, wouldn't change it for the world, but I really came here wanting to elevate that whole sports reporting experience. And I mean, I wanted to cover one of the biggest programs in the country. And the fact that on my first year here, Ohio State's going to a national championship is just crazy. People joked and said, you needed to come sooner because apparently you're the good luck charm. Sorry, guys.
What's your travel situation looking like?
So that's the big bummer with everything is I actually, unfortunately, don't get to go to Atlanta, which has been Yeah, it's been a little unfortunate. But I'm thankful that I went to Dallas, and I'm thankful that I got to experience all of that. And, because this season, I haven't been able to travel for any road games just because of the way our situation works. And so getting to go to the Cotton Bowl and see that Jack Sawyer play, firsthand, which, like we said, is going to go down as one of the greatest plays in the history of Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like, that was really incredible. And I'm trying to cherish that moment because, it's a big bummer that I'm not going to get to be in Atlanta. Somebody's got to be back here manning the ship.
Well, that's good. That's good. Because what I'm going to do is, can I ask you, can you join us next week, maybe Monday for a preview or Tuesday for a recap?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Because you honestly, you know, just about as much as anybody that's going to be around this game. And just from talking to you, getting these insights, and like I mentioned, you kind of taking us behind the curtain is exciting and inspiring. And again, I would urge everybody to go check out this piece on Nina Day, because I'll tell you, I was I swear I don't get like this, but I was pretty annoyed. Like when people were talking about Ryan Day coaching for his job, I was vocal about it. Again, as vocal as I can get, or, as loud as I can be. But that really annoyed me because, one, I felt like it wasn't true. And two, I felt like if it was true, it was completely insane. And so, so it was really cool to hear people like you, and to even hear people like Holly Rowe start to report that was not the case. No. And it was BS.
Well, and also what bothered me, Pete, because like you said, I can only be so vocal, right? Like, I know at the end of the day, I'm a reporter and I'm not going to interject myself too much. But what bothered me is that you've got a coach like a Kirby Smart who's 1-7 against Bama, and he's kind of cursed with that team. Yet nobody talks about, we got to get rid of Kirby Smart. He can't beat Alabama. Yet with Ryan Day in Michigan, it's a similar curse, and I get that it's more of a rivalry and it's more historic rivalry, but it's the same sort of thing. You're talking about a coach with a stacked resume who's could potentially bring this team and is now bringing this team to a national championship. I never understood it. And I also had problems with it, but seeing Nina open up like that, I mean, it's emotional. Like, it makes me just really frustrated for that family because they don't deserve any of that. And I don't think people realize.
But that was, when you're part of this deal, right? Whether it's reporting, whatever you report, or as a journalist, like, you do have an opportunity to shed light on positive stories and to give people a lens. I'm telling you, myself included, even though I was already on the side of I think this is BS, but a lot of people, I can guarantee you, saw your story and are going to be telling you, wow, that was amazing, because we need more looks like that, especially, and I said before we had you on, when you have championship games, like games of this magnitude, whether it's the national championship or the Super Bowl, there is a little bit of extra ramp up time where we get opportunities to know people like Nina Day and to know that her and her husband, for somebody like me sitting in Central Texas, I did not know that she met her husband when they were 6 years old playing T-ball. That bond has got to be so incredible. So I appreciate you showing us a little bit about that.
Of course. I appreciate the kind words.
They're well deserved. Nicole Shearin, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Channel 10 in Columbus, Ohio. You can find her at Nicole Shearin TV. That's SHEARIN TV. That's where you can see that full story too. Nicole, thank you so much.
Thank you, Pete. You're the best.
All right. I'll holler at you over the weekend. We'll set something up for next week.
Okay, sounds good. OH, Pete. OH.
I-O, baby. I heard you on the plane saying that. OHIO. Nicole Shearin, everybody. All right, we'll step aside. We've got picks coming back with Corey Dickman, the Pete Souza Show, presented by Slovaceks. Back after this.